What is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency in a nutshell. So cryptocurrencies are decentralized ledgers. So cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, for example, are secure online ledgers based on cryptography. Now, cryptography can be quite heavily mathematical, and it's something, the details of this, probably something you don't really need to understand. But the cryptography basically provides private and public keys to access the blockchain, and it's very, very secure, is all you need to know about cryptography at the moment. Decentralized ledgers contain details of balances and transactions. So these are pretty much like your conventional bank account, where you look at your statement and you see the different transactions and the balances at the end of the day. So a ledger is very, very similar to that. These ledgers are decentralized and distributed, which means that there's no central point of trust like you would get with a conventional bank. You have to trust them to look after the ledger and your balances and transactions. With a decentralized and distributed network, this isn't the case. There's no central point of trust. Decentralized ledgers make all transactions and balances publicly available. So the decentralized ledger doesn't contain any personal details for the users, so you don't have to worry too much about privacy, but the transactions and balances themselves are publicly visible on the blockchain. Decentralized ledgers are just one use for blockchain technology. So blockchain technology, rather than just being used for cryptocurrencies, can be used for any sort of keeping track of any asset where you didn't want to use a central point of trust. So maybe voting systems or anything like that, traceability of goods from manufacture through to distribution. The blockchain technologies can be used for many different things besides just cryptocurrencies. So, open source code. Most cryptocurrencies are actually open source. So examples are Bitcoin, which you've most probably heard of, Litecoin, Ethereum, which you've probably heard of as well, it's the second biggest market cap, and Monero, which is a true privacy coin. So these are all open source code. What this means is that anybody can review the source code, and the source code is usually on something called GitHub, which I believe is an open source version control system for keeping track of the code and the updates. So anybody can review the source code. This allows complete transparency of the functionality. So it dramatically reduces the chances of any backdoors, bugs and other nasties in the code, because there's literally hundreds or thousands of people reviewing this code on a regular basis, and it just promotes a lot of trust. Which is what this point is. Okay, so there's no trusted third parties involved. So traditional banks are a trusted third party. With cryptocurrencies, it requires no trusted third party because of its distributed nature. No one can question, reverse or block transactions. So with a traditional bank, they can question your transactions, block the transactions, or even reverse the transactions. With the blockchain, this isn't the case. There's no trusted third party, so if you make a transaction and you make sure the transaction is correct, goes to the correct amount and it's to the correct destination, no one and no third party can block this transaction, reverse it, or even question it. It will happen. So no one can charge you unexpected, exorbitant fees, as the banking system quite often does. Especially with cross-border transactions. You sometimes send money to a different country and you don't even know what the fees are actually going to be until less money arrives at the other end. And in this modern day and age, that's just unacceptable. Well, this doesn't happen with cryptocurrencies. With cryptocurrency, you have to remember that you are the bank, so you are responsible for the security of your private keys. And your private keys are your access to your entries on the decentralized ledger. So your private keys are like the keys to a safe deposit box or something. They're the things that you really need to look after yourself. And you're responsible for your own transactions, because as I said earlier, they can't be reversed or blocked or questioned. So if you make an incorrect transaction, then unless the recipient of the transaction creates another transaction back to yourself, they can't even be reversed. So you are responsible for your own transactions. Another key concept of the blockchain technology is immutability. This basically means that any transactions that happen are literally set in stone and cannot be reversed. So yeah, cryptocurrencies and anything using the blockchain is immutable. Transactions are in the blockchain forever. So really, if something goes wrong, if you make an incorrect transaction, then that will stay in the blockchain forever. And this is considered a good thing, because there's too many situations where, say in the banking system, transactions can be reversed. You can buy something or you can sell something and the transaction gets reversed and it causes problems. Well, immutability is one of the key concepts of cryptocurrencies, where it is literally set in stone. Immutability is key to the blockchain integrity, which is what I've just been saying. So due to this immutability, one of the benefits is that changing transactions and hacking is near on impossible. Bitcoin has never actually been hacked. Now, you may have heard the odd news story around saying that so many thousand or $1 million have been stolen. It does happen in the cryptocurrency world, but it's not the blockchain itself that usually gets hacked. I mean, Bitcoin has never been hacked. Again, it's how the users look after their private keys, which is really the weakness in the system. The weakness is the user themselves and how they look after the private keys. And one of these weaknesses we'll talk about later is online exchanges, because anything online in an exchange is liable to being hacked, and it does happen. But the blockchain itself is usually quite secure, especially Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum, back in the old days, was hacked, and money has also been accidentally lost, and we're talking large sums of money as well. So there's always an issue with, if a cryptocurrency blockchain is hacked, due to this immutability where it cannot be changed, do we really allow this hack to take place and this theft and this, or maybe this loss of cryptocurrency, or do we actually roll back the blockchain and remove this problem? So there's an issue at the moment with governance regarding immutability. Immutability is great, except for that if something goes wrong, do we make allowances and remove the problem, remove the theft, and remove the accidental loss? So that's always it's a bit of an issue at the moment, especially with Ethereum.